Hey everybody, Josh here. Putting together a quick introduction video to show all of our instructors the cards and how to print the cards for the non-healthcare groups. This is the CPR only and CPR first aid classes that we hold at our offices. When you come in after the class, once everybody's checked in and you've completed the class, you'll then go and print certifications. And it's a pretty easy process, but there's a couple of things that I need to show you to make sure that you don't mess it up. And the first thing I want to show you is just the new card template. This is what they look like. It's a blank template. You can see that there's no dates or name listed yet. And this is what actually is the part that you're going to print is the information. If you guys can kind of see it closer, there you go. The information for each student. And these cards, they come pre-templated. So there's you'll find a stack of these cards at the office, and this is what you're going to want to grab and run them through the printer. Now it's important that you understand that there are two different cards. There is a, I don't know if you can see this, a CPR or CPR AED card only, which is right here, CPR, adult, child, infant, CPR, and AED. And then there's another card, and it's the CPR and first aid. So adult, child, infant, CPR, and standard first aid. There's also a third card that is just the standard first aid. But the two that you'll be working with is mostly CPR first aid and CPR. So it's very critical that you understand that these cards may look very similar, but there are two different ones. The other important thing is that we have a laser printer that we're using to print these cards. The other printers, the inkjet printers, don't work because they smear. It doesn't dry. It'll smear. So we have to use a laser printer. And this is our new laser printer. It's a really slick, easy, simple process. And it prints really fast, so you won't have to wait. And again, all you're printing is just the black text that's going to go on the card. Now, what is important is how to load this thing. These printers have a little tray that pops out on the bottom, and this is where you're going to load the card in order to print it. And you, again, have to remember that you're grabbing the correct card. So let's say that it's time to print the CPR and first aid people. You've got 4 CPR first aiders. You're going to grab 4 cards, 4 blank cards, and you're going to load them into this printer. And we've marked on the printers how to load it, but I'm going to show you. It is basically face down and then the top of the card. So the logo, not the actual card, but the logo is what's going to go toward you. So you need to load this thing face down, and then the top of the card is loaded toward you. So here, I've got another one face down. Top of the card is going toward you. And then once you put that in there, you close it up, and it's ready to print. And the second half of this is going to be showing you how it looks on Enrollware and the process of printing the cards in Enrollware system, which is really easy because it generates the templates for you. But that's the new printers and how to load the different cards. Okay, so we learned how to load the cards into the new printer, and now you are going to go into your Enrollware and you go into your student list. So this is now either during the video portion of class or at the end of the CPR class when you're printing the card. So I've loaded up a class list here, a CPR, AED, and first aid group. And this is that standard screen and standard page that you're used to seeing. And down here is where all of your action buttons are. This is where we talked about, editing the scores and finalizing the rosters and printing cards. Now, one very critical thing to understand here is that when it comes to printing the general provider classes, so CPR only and CPR first aid classes, we are not actually going into the print cards. We're going to certificates. So it's important that you select certificates because that's going to be the correct template. When you click on certificates, it's going to take you to the certificates print options, and you're going to see that everything here is pre-filled. The course, CPR First Aid, your instructor name is going to be there. The issue date is going to be there. And the only thing that you need to add, and this is also important, is the expiration date. Enrollware does not pre-fill the expiration date, and all it needs to be is the month and the year. So the class date was September 24th, 2016. The expiration is just going to be September of 2018. These forms, or these fields, you do not have to fill out. You're going to go over here and select, which persons that you need cards for. Let's say that Paula was a no-show, so we're not going to print a card for her. We're just going to print these three. You hit Generate Certificates, and it's going to create a Word document that'll load down here. And then this is what you'll open up, and you'll see that it creates this Word document where it has the name twice on here, one for the top part, one for the card, and then of course your class date and your expiration. And then you can scroll and you'll see the other students that you've selected here. Each student has its own full page. And then you can hit print. It'll pop up your printer options and which printer. You're going to make sure that you select the Brother HL series because that's the printer, that's the new printers, the laser printers that we're using. And of course, at this point, you've already loaded the card type that you need. In this case, it was CPR and first aid, so you've loaded enough CPR and first aid cards into the printer, and then you will just hit print. And it will print all three of the cards, or however many you select, all in one print job. So you're not going to have to do this one at a time. It'll print all of them, as many as you select at one time. So just make sure that you have enough cards in there. Once you're done with that, you can X out of there, and then you'll go back and print the CPR only class, which in this case only had one student, and we'll do the exact same thing. Certificates, add the expiration date. We've clicked that person, generate the certificate, open that up, there it is, print, make sure you select Brother Printer, and then hit print. So I hope that makes sense. This video will be available on our YouTube channel, so you can access it 24/7, and I would encourage you to rewatch this video a few times and make sure that you understand the whole process. Now instructors will have the ability, like I said, to print cards at every class. So if somebody has a misspelled name, somebody walks in, somebody wants to upgrade to first aid, you will have the ability to print their card right there on site without having to contact me or Jordan or anybody to send you a card. So it's a pretty slick process, and I think it's just going to make life a lot easier for everybody. All right, thanks a lot.